أعزائي المشاهدين، أهلا وسهلا بكم بحلقة جديدة من برنامج موفرز اند شيكرز. كالمعتاد كل أسبوع عندنا ضيف ويانا، وضيفنا يكون من واحد من أبناء الجالية أو من المسؤولين الموجودين في ولاية ميشيغان أو الولايات الأخرى الأمريكية. اليوم ضيفنا ويانا مدير شرطة مدينة ديربورن السيد رونالد حداد، نسميه ران حداد، اللي هو عضو فعال جدا في مدينة ديربورن اللي يقطنها عدد كبير من أبناء الجالية العراقية والعربية اللي يسكنون في مدينة ديربورن اللي يسميها احنا الشرق الأوسط في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية. السيد ران حداد له باع طويل في مجال الشرطة، أكثر من 30 سنة خدمة، وراح نخليه هو يتحدث عن هذا الموضوع بشخصه بنفسه. Ron, thank you for coming to our show.
It's a privilege to be here, Nick. Thank you.
Ron, what I just said in my interview, I said Ron Haddad is one of the active member of our community in Dearborn, the city who lives. There we have a lot of Iraqis and Middle Eastern live in Dearborn, and you are very active, been a long time in the police department. And they'd like us to tell your story of how you became a police officer.
You know, ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a police officer. So in 1973, I joined the Detroit Police Department. I worked there for 34 years. I like to say 34 short years of my life. The last 6 years, Nick, I was the senior deputy chief in the police department, and I was in charge of Homeland Security right after 9/11. As you know, we worked together in the past when I was the commander at the 11th Precinct in Chaldean Town and West 7 Mile. We cleaned that whole neighborhood up and brought it back at that time. And to fast forward, I retired from Detroit in 2007. 2008, Mayor John B. O'Reilly Jr., the mayor of Dearborn, called me and said, I'm looking for a police chief. I was working at Chrysler at the time, and after some dialogue with him, I graciously accepted the job, and I've been there 9 years. So that's basically my history.
So you started in 1973?
Yes.
But you don't look that old.
So
73, that's 43 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's...
I'm in my 44th year, but I'm not counting, and it's been a privilege to serve two great cities. I couldn't be happier.
City of Detroit is one of the largest cities in the state of Michigan. Years ago, now it's getting a little bit better, slowly it's improving. Years ago, the crime was very high. We were the capital of crime of United States.
Murder capital.
Yeah, murder capital. Now Chicago took over that. Now
right.
Michigan improved. How did you cope with all that dangerous day and night in the streets and the drugs, problems, rapes? How did you work with it?
That's an interesting question, and I think sometimes even police lose sight of the fact that there's a lot of good people living in Detroit. So we try to serve the good people and try to keep the crime off their doorstep. They had great community policing programs in the city of Detroit when I was there, and clearly what you said is true. The vacant properties were turned into dope pads, for example, and that was a challenge. But there's a lot of good people that live in Detroit, so you use the good people to serve them and to keep the community as safe as you can keep it.
Let me ask you, I know you're not in Detroit today, but because your experience, length of time you serve in Detroit, attract me to ask a few questions about Detroit. What do you think the reason was so high crime in Detroit? Because short of funds, little support of the politics, the citizens, they don't care? What is our combination of everything?
You know, it's a complex question. The social problems facing Detroit, where 60% plus live below the line of poverty, is a big, big problem. And when you have responsible people that move out of the city because they want a better quality of life, better schools, the neighborhoods decay. And if you look at the surrounding communities, whether north of 8 Mile all the way out to Northville in the west, all of these communities picked up people while Detroit lost people. And those people were a very strong foundation for the city. So consequently, you're left with people that have social problems. They're living at or below the line of poverty. You have a high degree of teenagers having babies, and they don't have good role models. Poverty tends to breed drug addiction and alcoholism. So it's an array of stuff, but I think The biggest problem that Detroit faced was losing responsible people from the community because they chose to go elsewhere for a better quality of life. And now, when I look today, I'm very pleased. You go downtown, you see all kinds of young people that live there. The city's coming back, and I think Southwest Detroit, they've improved by 25% the population in Southwest Detroit, so that's been a very strong foundation for the west end and the south end of the city. There's clearly a lot of work to do, but I'm hopeful for the city of Detroit.
You know, I travel a lot. I'm almost every month in different cities. I just came from Pittsburgh. And I noticed Detroit lately, and especially downtown, improved very well. Slowly, hopefully they're going to get out of downtown. They're going to build Detroit. I'm going to tell you, this happened with me about 7 years ago, 13,000 Lafayette, the tower. I had a condo. I tried to sell it for $17,000, 17th floor, facing Canada and water. In any downtown big cities, you cannot find it for $1 million. I tried to sell that condo for $17,000. Nobody was going to offer me nothing. I rented for a doctor at Henry Ford for $800 a month. I rent it personally. I own it personally. And I love that area. If you sit in that condo and you look at huge windows facing the Detroit River and Canada, that view, if you go to Chicago, LA, Miami, anywhere else, you pay $1 million, you cannot get that kind of condo. 17,000, I could not sell it. I just got an offer recently. You cannot believe it. 220,000.
See that?
From 17,000 to $220,000.
Yep.
I left it. I rented. The doctor moved out. I just put it in the market, and I get an offer $220,000.
That's more than 20 times.
Yeah. So that means Detroit is coming back, and I see the mayor is working very hard. The chief of police, Craig, is doing a great job. Detroit, a lot of police officers moving from Detroit to different cities. They're get less paid than other cities. And why they pay them less? And they're more dangerous and get paid less.
You know, it's all about budget and finance. Clearly, Detroit officers have always been underpaid for what we had to do there and what they continue to do there. But it shows the commitment to those men and women to serve there. I spent 34 years there. I lived in Detroit my whole life. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So my hat's off to anybody that makes a conscious decision to be dedicated to their job. And that just tells you. And I hope, and I believe the mayor will find a better way to pay them more money, because they certainly deserve it.
Yeah, really. I see the city of Sterling Heights, for example, because I live in Sterling Heights, and I know they pay there, and they're a lot less danger than what's in Detroit. And even one time, Texas, they try to recruit Detroit police officer. They want to take them and move them to Texas and stuff. But a lot of them, they didn't want to go because they said, you know, we are there, as you said, they're dedicated to their communities. They want to stay in Detroit. They want to serve in Detroit. Seriously, I drive in Detroit. I have a lot of friends in Detroit, business people. I do a lot of business in Detroit. Two of my kids, they were in Wayne State University, and my nieces in Wayne State University in Detroit. I see Midtown, Corktown, downtowns improving perfectly. You cannot find a piece of lot. I just went as a real estate agent. I went to sell a piece of property, John R. and Warren, an old house. If you take that, go 3 miles north, you cannot. If you pay me money, I will not take it. I tried to sell it. I tried to buy it for $400,000, and the guy said no. He refused to take my $400,000. And that's only 1/3 of an acre of property in the corner of John R. and Warren, close to DMC.
Right.
So Detroit's coming back. As I heard the mayor of the city address that day a couple of weeks ago, and I was very impressed of his ambitious plan to expand from downtown to go to the neighbors. So we want to move, the city not only in downtown, move it to the suburb. And I see Dan Gilbert and Penesky and God bless his soul, Illich. They did a good job with Detroit. They donated some money and
They
police
never
car.
gave up on the city. And Nick, you're absolutely right, because for the rest of us to be successful, Detroit has to succeed. So as Detroit improves, city of Dearborn, which we border 19 street miles with Detroit, we improve. So it benefits everyone. The people north of 8 Mile Road, their property's worth more when Detroit is stable and on the upswing. Certainly Midtown, I don't have to tell you, In recent years, they spent $62 billion in capital improvements, and you see the effect of that. They wouldn't take $400,000 for a small little house. So, you know, the city's going to come back. It takes responsible leadership at the top, and I don't want to pass judgment, but it looks like Mayor Duggan and Chief Craig are doing a great job there.
Really, I do. I was in Pittsburgh, as I told you last week, and I met with some official there, and they were telling me, you guys in Detroit doing a good job. See, before when I used to travel outside, when I tell them Sterling Heights, nobody knows where Sterling Heights. You know, when you tell them I'm from Detroit, they mean, oh, you walk in the street?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I do. Why? How are you walking in the street? I said, you know what? We have 3 casinos, we have 3 stadiums, we have, you know, all the restaurants, we have a GM headquarters, we have a lot of businesses there. You don't scare walking in Detroit? I said, no, I don't. Why am I going to scare? No, because, you know, it's a murder capital of United States, and every day they get killed somebody. I said, you know, I know it's that, but it's not to that degree. You cannot walk in Detroit. We have a police officer, and now, you know, if you go down, I took my family a couple of weeks ago. We went to Texas, Brazilian Texas restaurant, and we have a good dinner there. We walked in there. There's a bar in the middle of the square there, and we walked and.
No problem.
You know, my kids, my wife, and everybody else, we were happy, and the police, they were very friendly. You know, the law enforcement, they were very friendly there, and people, they were very friendly. And I keep telling them, now I've been hearing different. Lately, I've been hearing, oh, Detroit is getting better. If there's any good opportunity to invest, anything to invest, say, yeah, if you buy outside, I don't know if you know what's going on today, a lot of Chinese people buying property in Detroit. They buying these old homes, they buying them for $1,000, and they knocking them down, they keeping them for the future. It's good investment. They have a lot of investment. I just heard one Chinese guy bought 1,600 homes.
Wow.
It's in the process of, you know, so hopefully we'll see Detroit healthy and happy, so we're gonna be all happy together. Exactly. I like, when I went in Pittsburgh, you know, at night we finish our meetings at morning. At night we start walking the streets, going without fear, without anything. You can go eat and drinks. You know, you get out of the downtown, still is nice. And I see that happening in Detroit. So absolutely. Hopefully, as you said, that will reflect in Hazel Park, will reflect in Warren, and reflect in Dearborn, right, and other cities. Let's go. We talk enough about Detroit now.
Okay.
But I talked about Detroit because I know you have excellent experience. You serve there, and the police officers really, they deserve applaud, and they deserve, you know, everything, and they deserve a raise. I'll talk to Mayor Duggan. Yep. Hopefully, if they can put in a budget for them some money. Yep. It's great people. They deserve. Police officer everywhere in the United States, regardless if it's in Beverly Hills, or it's in Sterling Heights, or in Dearborn, or anywhere else. The majority, there's a few bad cops, but in every business, not every real estate is honest. Not every priest is good. Not every mullah or imam is good. Right. So some of them, so the police they are human beings just like everybody else. Because I've been dealing with the police officer for the last 20 years, with the Sterling Heights and, you know, other law enforcement in the federal level, I built a different opinion about police officer than average normal citizen. Right. Because I went through the training, I went through working with the police, I ride the squad, I went, you know, in the car, I traveled with the police officer, I trained with the police officer. I became part, even I'm a civilian, not in a law enforcement, but I have good experience with the law enforcement. Dearborn, how many police officers you have total?
We have 190 sworn. We have 50 civilians, and some of them do enforcement. There are also dispatchers and clerical people. I can tell you that I couldn't be prouder of the Dearborn Police. We've been recognized nationally for our community policing model, and what that does is that involves the entire community and what's important to them to keep them safe. Mm-hmm. We go into schools every day. We deal with all the faith-based community, whether they're mosques, churches, temples. We deal with our business community. You mentioned real estate. The mayor gave us an overview last week. Both commercial and residential properties have gone up between 20 and 35%, right across the board in our entire city, which is unheard of. The last 5 census, we were the only city in Michigan where the census continually went up. We don't have to trick the kids on school count day. We got 22,000 kids that come to our schools every day. We have a good fund balance in our budget right now. It's probably too good. It's like $30 million. So it's a little high. Now they're going to figure out how to spend it down and improve the quality. During the height of the economic struggles, 2007, 8, and 9, we had 300 vacant storefronts in the West End alone. You can't buy a piece of property or rent one in the West End now. Everything's filled up. So we put up a train station. Speed rail is coming. We're going to connect up with Detroit, Flint, all the way to Chicago. That benefits the whole state and the region. The mayor fought very hard. There was a couple of times when the grants were not going to come through. We took a trip to Washington, to Capitol Hill, and talked to some people, to the transportation secretary, and we fought for that. The mayor did, and I just kind of tagged along as a added bonus, if you will. But again, we have now 100,000 people that use that train station, and we project that once the speed rail comes in, there'll be 1.2 million people annually using that train station. So that provides a service to everybody in our region. And Dearborn is situated between Metro Airport and the international border. In addition to the 100,000 people, we have 200,000 people that come in and out of the city, and probably a couple 100,000 more that pass through the city every day. So Dearborn is a very important city for the region, and to keep it safe is absolutely important to everyone. Over the last 5 years, we've reduced crime by 25% across the board. And again, I couldn't be prouder of the men and women. Our lawsuits are down. We don't use force to speak of at all. We use de-escalation. It's gained a lot of respect around the country and around the world. This week I got people from Russia coming to have a presentation on how we de-escalate crime and how that engenders trust in the community.
Great. أعزائي المشاهدين، لازلنا مع ضيفنا اليوم هو السيد رونالد حداد، مدير شرطة مدينة ديربون التي يقطنها غالبية من الجالية العربية العراقية. يتحدث عن مجريات الأمور اللي موجودة في هذه المدينة. السيد حداد اشتغل أكثر من 33 سنة كضابط شرطة في مدينة ديترويت، وانتقل بعد التقاعد انتقل إلى مدينة ديربون. بدأ يعمل في مدينة ديربون كمدير شرطة لمدينة ديربون. يقول عندنا أكثر من 190 شرطي في مدينة ديربون، أكثر من 50 شرطي آخر بيساعدون الشرطة اللي حالفين على أنه حماية المدينة. يقول الأمور نسبة الجريمة قلت عندنا 25%. علاقتنا مع أبناء الجالية العراقية العربية ممتازة جدا. يقول احنا عملنا في ديترويت، وديترويت شغلهم صعب كثيرا لأنه الظروف الموجودة في مدينة ديترويت، وبدأت بالتحسن حاليا. هو يعمل مع كل أبناء الجالية. يقول مدينة ديربون تقع ما بين مطار ديترويت وما بين مدينة ديترويت الرئيسية. يقول سكة الحديد الجديدة ستمر في هذه المنطقة، وراح يزورها أكثر من 1,200,000 شخص في هذه المدينة. لازلنا نتحدث مع مدير شرطة مدينة ديربون السيد رونالد حداد، نتحدث عن أمور الشرطة وكيفية علاقة الشرطة مع أبناء الجالية العراقية العربية. Ron, you're a chief of police of a city well known not only in the level of Michigan, United States, even in the world. Everybody knows Dearborn. We call it the Beirut of or Beirut of America, right, or Middle East of America. We have a huge community. We have Iraqis, we have Lebanese, we have Syrian, we have all kind of Yemenis, all kind of people. How is your relationship with the community in general?
The community relations is absolutely great, and what's key here is that we communicate with everyone, and you can't always communicate the same with everyone because they have to feel comfortable. Sometimes it might mean taking an interpreter with you to a school to address women that don't speak English. But we have great social programs in the city of Dearborn. We have great school systems, and we go to every community to address their needs. Most recently, the immigration stir that's happened from Washington, it's got everybody on the edge of their seats. They're upset about it. And it's not the illegal immigrant that's upset. It's family members who worry about either going to Iraq, going to some country, going to Yemen to check on their loved ones, their aging parents, and they're afraid that if they go there, there may be a 30, 60, or 90-day delay on their return. So they're really concerned about that. And so we meet with them. We've brought Barbara McQuaid, our U.S. attorney, and we brought people from ICE, Immigration and Customs Service, and we wanted to explain to them how they could best do that to make sure everything was in order and to try to calm them down. We, at the local level, do not enforce federal law, not just immigration, but we're not authorized or responsible for enforcing federal law, and we told them that as well. So we put them at ease that we're going to continue to do what we have to do to keep the community safe, and we told them that unless you commit a crime,
you have to worry about nothing.
You have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And then, equally to that, we get criticized from around the country. But nobody gets a pass on crime, Nick. If they commit a crime, they're going to jail.
Well,
we don't care if they're citizens, if they're immigrants, if their visas run out, if they don't have a passport. We never give them a pass.
That's, that's a law enforcement job, is regardless if you are a citizen or not citizen.
Right.
But, if I committed a crime, I'll be punished for my crime I committed.
Right.
So that's an obvious thing. I have a lot of friends in Dearborn, a lot, from all various communities, from real estate agent Dave Abdullah, Sam Baidoun, Mike Faiz.
They're all good people.
I know them all. I used to work for Century 21 for 15 years before, so we were together years and years. I know most business people in Dearborn. I dealt with each one of them, from Shatila Gadi Plaza Soria, Shatila, and others. I dealt with every one of them. Really, I asked our communities there, what is your opinion about the official, civilian, and the officers? And everybody is happy with the way the city run, from the mayor, from the city council. We have Dave Abdullah now, a city council.
He's actually in Dearborn Heights.
In Dearborn Heights?
Right.
Okay, so I talked to all of them, most of them. Susan Serini, she used to be there.
Right. Now her son is there, Michael Serini.
So everybody is very happy, and I asked them about the police, relationship with the police. They said, unless there's a family dispute among the family.
Right.
Otherwise, the police are very, generous with us, very gentle with us. But, as Middle Eastern, especially the newcomers, they have a different opinion of, especially on the family, wife and husband.
Exactly.
We've been going through that a lot in Sterling Heights. Actually, we just put a task in the city of Sterling Heights from the chief of police, chief of fire, me, a couple other guys from the community, and the priest.
Beautiful. We
got together and we are trying to work it out if there's any family issue. And even I went myself 3-4 times to the police department. They put a group of the police officers. I tell them about the culture, our cultures, because some people, they think the police officer, I hear this a lot. I heard it a lot. Oh, the police officer stopped me because I'm Chaldean. And your license plate does not say you are Chaldean.
Yes.
Okay, or the police officer did not look at you, and you are you are Chaldean. They stop you. Stop you because you made something wrong.
Right.
You made a violation or citation or something. They didn't stop you. I said I lived in Sterling Heights since 1995. Never police stopped me. They stopped me twice because I made a mistake. I didn't stop completely in the stop sign. I stopped and I moved. Okay, this road was empty,
right.
But it said stop, did not say yield.
Right.
And the officer looked at me and said, "Do you know what he did?" I said, "Yes, sir, hurt my driver license. Give me the ticket, let me leave." And I know, I told him, "Thank you very much." Second time, one other time, and the light turned yellow, and I speeded and turned red immediately, and that was my fault.
You got caught.
No, my fault.
Right.
I admit it was
right.
my fault. So I told him, "Thank you very much, officer." Even he laughed. He said, "First time I see somebody, I give him 3 points," and he laughed.
Yeah.
I said, "Because I made a mistake, it could cost my life, could cost me my life." I took it as, not as insulting. I took it as,
it's life-saving.
Exactly. And what we did today, just Sterling Heights becoming like another Dearborn. We have a huge community, Middle Eastern community now. And the mayor, Michael, and the city council and the chief police and fire police and city manager, all they start working together. They try to bring the community together and work. We just got we have a police officer, Chaldean police officer, Jason Hakem. They tried to hire more police officers today. They told me, if you know anybody qualified,
send them.
Jason, he was in Detroit. Actually,
right.
He was a police officer in Detroit. He moved to Just telling you, now we need a couple of more people, qualified people, to be a police officer. They speak, especially they speak different languages.
Right, exactly.
The city start working. So the police department, they love to work with the citizen in a good way.
Right.
They want it to be at peace.
Right.
They want it to be happy. They want to have a good relationship. They don't want to have a tension with you and other police officer. You want to have a good relationship with the community.
Exactly.
A couple of days ago, I watched in Channel 7, there's a couple of guys came in with the guns to the police department. What's the story with those guys?
Can I just go back to
Sure.
the domestic violence, because
Sure.
I think it's important. You hit on something, then we'll talk about the people that
Sure.
visited us. I think what people in this state have to understand is that domestic violence, the state domestic violence laws, do not allow police to take no action. When you go to a house, if there's evidence that somebody's been struck, if there's any damaged property, like a table or something that's been broken, or if there's an obvious threat that will exist after you leave there, then you have to make an arrest of one or both parties. The state requires that. And then you have to submit a write-up to the prosecutor. Even if I say I'm not mad at my spouse anymore, let's let it go, the police still have to send a write-up. But to your point, we have a social agency and we have a counselor right up in our detective bureau. Even if they don't prosecute, we make sure that they reach out to the family in 2 languages, or 3, depending on what they need, and give them the counseling they need. Because domestic violence, whether they keep it covered up or they think it's shameful, and like you say, sometimes culture gets in the way, because we know, I can say this, in our Lebanese and Arab and Chaldean cultures, it's male dominated as the head of the household, and we do all the talking, sometimes not me and probably not you, but oftentimes. So we have to get past that. But if our communities recognize that the law provides and requires us to take action, maybe they'll act better and work with it. But I'm happy for what you said about Sterling Heights starting to work with the faith-based community to educate our community on what the laws say and to eradicate domestic violence in the household.
Yeah, we have a lot of, you know, my kid's born here. My daughter, she dated. My son is dating. To me, I came young to America, you know, and I get used to the culture of this country. My daughter, she came and said, "Dad, this is my boyfriend." You know, to me, it was natural, normal. She's a healthy young woman, and my son, he's a healthy young man in the college. They dated. They came, and I welcomed them. They have friends. Both of them, they're going to get married. Same boys and girl, they dated 10 years ago.
Beautiful.
Okay, some of them sometimes does not work this way. Sometimes they have a relationship, the relationship goes sour, each one goes his way. I accepted my daughter to have a boyfriend. I accept my son to have a girlfriend. Some member of the community just came, especially on the newer com, they cannot apprehend that his daughter, she's dating somebody. So the minute she come home, you see her with a boyfriend, he beat her to death, or he give her, you know, a hard time or something. Maybe in Iraq it will work, maybe in Lebanon it will work, but in America, as long as you are not committing something wrong, you're not doing something wrong, it's a healthy relationship, you can do whatever you want to do. Especially the kids, if they're 18 years old. In America, if you are 18 years old, you cannot touch the kids anymore.
Right. Somehow we have to balance the family tensions and customs, but eventually it works out.
Yeah, we have a lot of newcomers,
Right.
especially the Iraqis, even the Christian ones. I'm not talking about only the Muslims,
anybody
even
from
the
Iraq.
Christian ones, the Christian Iraqi, even they're still there, you know, they cannot apprehend if your daughter, oh, she goes out to school and she dated somebody. Oh, no, she cannot do that. So they get a lot of that problem. Another problem, husband and wife. If the wife, you know, spend money or do something, the husband did not accept it, they beat her or do something, they think we're still in the Middle East. Even in the Middle East, they start changing that, you know, family abuse, and, you know, they change that. Slowly they start changing it. So what we start doing now, either we're going to do it, we do it at the churches, in the level of churches, or we do it right now. I am planning of working with a couple of attorneys, family law attorneys.
Beautiful.
We're going to, either I'm taking them to the radio, talk about it, or I'm going to do a town hall meeting, like town hall meeting. I'm going to bring priests. We sit and talk about these issues because this is an issue, right. Epidemic in our community. Some people, they don't feel it. You, police officer, you feel it because you see it. You respond to the calls, and that take a lot of sources of other crime. Maybe right. You know, that could be avoidable. could be avoidable. So you working with the community. I know in Dearborn they work with the imam or sheikh or somebody else, or
We do.
you work together. I see your picture very active. The next question I have, you very active beside your job. After hours, I see you active with the community. When do you find the time to do that?
You know, we have to do it because we have to build trust with the community, and you have to be out there. And when the people get to know their police department, their police chief, their mayor, they're more likely to tell you when something's not going right because they have to trust you first. So that is part of the job. I have no spare time to speak of, but I committed to do that, and I'm going to do it right as long as I do it. Do we want to go back to the event of the two people with the guns again?
Yes.
Okay, you asked earlier about the two people that came into our police station. First of all, we became aware of them when they went to the Walmart shopping center and they were covering up their faces, bringing out their guns and putting on their armor. People were scared to death, so they called the police. Well, by the time we got there, they were gone. And we got there in a minute, but they had left. We got a good description on the car. We would encounter them later. They called the police a bunch of names. The officer used the very best judgment and discretion. He let them go. Next thing you know, 40 minutes later, they get armored up again. They pull out their guns and they're coming in the police station. I don't have to tell you that 6th Precinct, which was my last command before I retired from Detroit, right after I left her, they shot that precinct up, and it's a couple miles from Dearborn PD. With the attack on police today, we can't take that kind of chance. People coming in covered up, armor. I can tell you that even open carry advocates in our state called me and said, we don't agree with what they did. It's a dangerous thing. Officers have to decide in a split second to come and try to set up a event like this, to test officers, to tease them with a gun, a loaded assault weapon. Totally unacceptable. It's not a joke. It's not a toy. And we did ultimately charge him through the Wayne County prosecutor 2 counts of felonies. And I'm going to work with our state legislators to hope that some common sense approach for these kind of laws can be brought about. But when you say guns and Second Amendment, nobody wants to touch it. But we're going to try.
But what's the motive behind coming with the cover on their face and with the shotgun? They were not expecting somebody going to shoot them? Or
I can't explain it because it makes no sense to logical, honest people. They seem to say after that they had a right to do this.
They cover their face? They have the right to do that?
I have a different opinion. They don't. And I'm asking you, what is the purpose? If you want to demonstrate your right to carry a weapon, call it a demonstration. We'll give you a place where you can do it safely, and the officer doesn't have to figure out what's going on. Similar to this, a week later, on a busy Saturday afternoon, 5 people came in support of these guys, walking down in the area of Schaefer and Warren with guns. We got 18 calls in about 3 minutes at our 911 center, and they said, we think they're going to rob the bank, they're going up to the Fifth Third Bank, or they might have a shootout, something is happening. So our community was terrorized by those 5 people. I don't think the Second Amendment allows you to terrorize people. I've carried a gun all my life, but when I walk in, people don't have any questions as to who I am or what my intentions are. We can't say that with somebody all covered up, got body armor to the outside, nothing showing but their eyes, and they have assault weapons in their hands.
It could be robbers, could be anything.
It could be killers. We had a robbery of a jewelry store a couple of 3 months ago. You may have read about it. They came in dressed like Arab and traditional Arab.
Yeah, Zuhair Abdul Haq, I think was.
Yeah, no, it's down the street actually. It was somebody else. But it turns out that they wore these disguises. They weren't Arab and they weren't Muslim. They just wore these disguises because you had to be buzzed into the store. Well, the jewelry shop owner took comfort in that, said, yeah, they must be somebody from the community. He let them in. They pulled out guns, pistol whipped them, busted up the store, took the jewelry and left. We did catch those 3 people, by the way.
I know you guys very fast, Captain.
Yeah. It took us a while. They were very deceitful, very secretive. They took the car they were using and hid it in Detroit under a tarp. But we have our ways, and we kept working it and working it. We caught a break, and they're all in custody now. But again, you have no way of telling if somebody wishes to harm you. We're not going to sit back and wait. If these 3 guys or these 2 guys that were dressed up like this walked into a bank, what would the bank teller think? If they
It's the robbers.
if they walked into this studio here, what would we think? Something bad was going to happen.
Yes.
So it's inappropriate behavior.
You know,
It's crazy.
I know sometimes people, they say the police officer, they judge very fast and they start shooting very fast. You know, if you are in a situation, and I'm sure both of you been in a training before. I've been trained for a long time. Even in a simulation training, one time we were at the FBI Academy and we were trying, first time I went there, first time I carried a gun in my life.
Shoot, don't shoot.
When they have it, you know, like a video games.
Right.
And we have a robbery situation. Within, I don't know how many seconds, I shot 17 times. When I left, I said, oh my God. You know, it could be just anybody from the bank customer. You could shot him, you know. I was not aware of it. Slowly, you know, after the training and stuff. But still, sometimes you're in a split-second situation.
Exactly.
You don't know, if you don't shoot, you're going to be killed.
Right.
And many police officers got killed this year.
Exactly.
There's many of them got killed.
You're
Because,
right.
you know, they tried not to.
A record number.
Yeah, we have a lot, every few days we have somebody, you taking them out. One of the last police officer from Detroit, he got shot. A week later, we have another guy shot, you know, and those guys, number one, they are family member. Number two, they have brothers, sisters, kids, and everybody. Number two, they are community to protect. It's number three, it take a long time to train somebody like this, like Shark and the other guys.
Right.
To take a long time to train them to to replace them with somebody else.
It's a huge investment on the community's part to bring us up to speed.
Exactly. So hopefully we'll. I always say something. This isn't my personal opinion. I always say, pray God give a good judgment for the police officers to make their good judgment. And I wish a safe return homes.
Thank you.
Because I know every day, every minute when police officers leave home, he don't know if he's going to come back home or not.
Right.
Your life's in danger every second. A phone call could be a deadly phone call. Could be anything. We pray for you guys. We wish you, to be safe, coming back to your family, retired, enjoy the rest of your life with your kids and grandkids. And I promise you one thing, as personal and on the TV. Anytime you want to use my services or the TV services for any announcement, anything, any help, I promise you I'll be there.
Thank you.
Personally, I'll be there.
Thank you.
And the owner of the TV allowed me to say this. He said, anytime, any law enforcement, any official, they want to use the TV for announcement, for meeting, to solve any issue, you're more than welcome to our TV.
You know, our country, we have 800,000 law enforcement officers across the country. 800,000. We have 370 million people. So those 800,000 officers protect our country 24/7. And on occasion, one of us makes a mistake that we are held very accountable for. But the vast majority of those 800,000 people never shoot anybody, never brutalize anybody, and never pull their gun out on anybody. So I think as a nation, we should understand that. I'm not saying that, like you said at the top of the show, there's a few bad apples everywhere. And I just want to say that maybe they're not bad apples, but maybe they just made a very bad choice that day because they didn't come to work, hopefully, with that in mind. So we'll deal with that. But the vast majority of law enforcement professionals in our country do a great job. And I think in return, the country should support them right across the board. So I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to your news station and your TV station here and the owner and so on, because we're going to do our very best to protect our communities, and we appreciate your support.
You're welcome anytime, and thank you very much for coming and spending time with us. And hopefully the community will benefit, and if they need any help or anything, even I'm in Sterling Heights, but I'm willing to come to Dearborn. If I can assist in any matter, because I have a lot of friends in Dearborn. In the community, I speak their language. I speak 4 languages. So anything I can assist, Greek, Arabic, Chaldean, English, and I'm more than happy, really. I have an excellent relationship, as I told you, with the community. If there's anything, even as 1% could help, I'm more than happy to come and assist you in Dearborn and Troy or in any other cities, because the community is the community regardless where they're going to live. We have the same background, we understand the culture of each other, we understand the language of each other, and it's good to have somebody you can rely on, somebody like you or somebody like John Berg, or somebody like Captain, and Troy, Captain Myers in Troy, or Michael in West Bloomfield, Chief Michael, and all others. We are all together as a community. You help me, I help you, and a good way to keep everybody safe. And Easter is coming. I pray for every police officer in the whole United States, not only in Michigan. We pray God to keep you safe going back to your family and serve our communities. God bless you and thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. شكرا جزيلا. أعزائي المشاهدين، كنا في لقاء مع السيد ران حداد، مدير شرطة مدينة ديربون في ولاية ميشيغان الأمريكية. كان ضيفنا اليوم يتحدث عن الشرطة والمواطنين الموجودين في ولاية ميشيغان وبصورة خاصة في مدينة ديربون. نتمنى لهم الموفقية للقيام بأعمالهم اللي يقومون بها في خدمة الجماهير والمواطنين. إن شاء الله استفادتوا من هذا الموضوع، ونلتقي بكم في الأسبوع القادم مع تحيات نيك نجار. شكرا جزيلا.